It's an historic day in Cyprus. Greek and Turkish Cypriots have torn down the barricades which have divided them for 44 years on a popular shopping street in the capital Nicosia. Ledra Street has become a powerful symbol of the island's ethnic partition. As the barricades came down, Cypriots on both sides of the fence celebrated. Our correspondent Tim Friend is in Nicosia.
Well, the latest from here is that tonight there was an incident when the Turkish Cypriot police moved, it was alleged at least, too close to the green line, and as a result the Greek Cypriots said that they were going to close the border again. Now that closure took up about an hour, and we now understand that as a result of negotiations the border has now reopened, but it's a clear indication of the deep suspicions that remain here on this divided island, and tonight's incidents have marred what was otherwise an optimistic and hopeful beginning to the day. All morning the crowds had waited for this moment, just 70 meters of pavement but with huge historical significance. Overnight, last-minute preparations had taken place. This section of Ledra Street, until a few hours before, was a UN buffer zone, barred to civilians. It had to be checked for old explosives, and buildings derelict for years shored up. But now people from both sides of the world's last divided capital could meet again here. Here on the Turkish Cypriot side of the border, people are being allowed to squeeze past the police line in small groups. It's a very emotional moment as they go up Ledra Street for the first time. But for today's optimism to translate into real progress towards reunification will now take some hard bargaining and negotiation. There were brief speeches from both sides of the community.
We aspire to the elimination of crossings and the opening of all roads in this country for all its citizens with no obstructions as a consequence of its reunification.
When Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots can overcome their fears, when they have goodwill, and when they start to build trust with one another.
But this day belonged to the people.
How about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings. I'm very happy at the one hand that we have another border opened, another gate, and which is good for both sides. But at the same time, I'm very sad that we still have to go through all this hassle and cross from one side of the island to the other side with visas and ID cards. This is ridiculous, and we want an island with no borders and hope to have peace soon.
People will come together, and we hope that it will be a catalyst for the solution of Cyprus problem.
It's a great day. It's a very symbolic day because a part of the wall is falling and people are getting reunited.
Ledra Street traces the recent history of Cyprus. The barricades first went up 45 years ago after intercommunal violence flared in the city. Then, after 1974, it was the centre of the UN Green Line, cutting across the island after Turkey invaded the north in response to a Greek coup. Now, after years of stalemate, many here believe there's the best chance for decades to bring about reunification. Well, earlier I spoke to the President's special representative, who told me how close the border had come to not opening at all in the first place.
It was the most important street in Cyprus until 1964. And it has been closed ever since. So here we have a joint achievement of obliterating something that was really offensive to most Cypriot people. And the significance of its importance is that it was considered an impossibility, a technical and military impossibility. And when I come to write about it, you know, it was a minute-to-minute crisis until this morning. I went to bed with a crisis and I woke up at 6 o'clock. I was woken up by the United Nations saying, sorry, it won't take place, there is a problem. And it was 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock when it was finally overcome. So yes, we tried hard. We tried to persuade our compatriots, and they tried to persuade the Turkish army that it's a good idea to open it.
That's extraordinary. I don't think we, anyway, had realised it was quite to the wire like that.
Well, for the last 10 days...
It really was early,
yes.
in the early hours of this morning.
It was not certain.
Reached.
You know, when your colleagues asked me about a month ago, when we agreed to open it, they said, when are you going to open it? I said, I can't forecast that far ahead. And I will only give you probabilities as we go along. And I always used most likely, most probably, it will open on such and such a date. So, but I had confidence that we would manage in the end.
Well, the incidents tonight give a clear indication of how much work there still is to be done to bring about reunification on this island.